Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Table Ready podcast. This is Todd. Today, we're going to be talking about some of the gift ideas for the gamers in your life. Um, if you don't know what they're looking for or don't really understand what they play, this is going to be a good guide for that specifically. And I'm going to kind of just dive right in here. And if there's something that you want to check in here or say hi or whatever. I am putting this list of stuff on Facebook at Table Ready Painting on Facebook, and I do have all the links to all the items that I'm going to be talking about right there in the notes there. So of course, I know this is the gift giving time of year, and of course, I have been through it a great many times where um, I've been a wargamer for, let's say, 30 years. That sounds about right at this point. And unfortunately, there's been quite a few years where I have no idea what to tell people what to get for me. I know exactly what I want, but they don't understand the game that I play or get what's going on or have any idea as to, even when I say, hey, I want a Dark Angels Intercessor Squad, and they look at me like I have three eyes and six limbs. So what I'm gonna do is just go over some of the things that I kind of always wanted on my list for just simple stuff for gift ideas, for anybody that does wargaming, miniature painting, anything like that. And I'm going to try to keep, most of these are under $50. A lot of them are under $20. So if you just want to listen, and like I said, all the links for this are going to be right on Table Ready Painting on Facebook. So what you can check out the links there. So the first thing on my list is dice, because anybody that plays any kind of games wants dice. This is what you're looking at. Dice Cube, chessex. They're probably the industry standard when it comes to dice. You're looking for dice sixes for most basic tabletop wargaming. Obviously, there's a couple different ones, but you're playing Warhammer usually in this kind of group. This is the standard. So you want your dice sixes. Obviously, if they're into role-playing games, you're going to want more multi-sided dice, like die 20s, die 8s, so on and so forth. So usually a thing like this, I think it's 36 dice, if I remember, and I can even show it here if I can get the glare off of it. But it's about $15-16 at regular price. Everybody needs dice. Everybody loves dice. They want dice as part of their army to match their colors, or you know, or even just to be separate, because like sometimes you want to roll your weapons together. You need two different colored dice just to stay on top of that. The next item that I have here, and I went a little bit pricier, but anybody that does any kind of painting, you're going to want paint bottles. There's a lot of different companies that do make paints. I put Army Painter as my specific one. They do have a line of speed paint starter sets. It's right around $45. They come in dropper bottles like this. You just drop out what you want onto your palette, or your wet palette or whatever, and you can get to painting. The one that I got specifically here on the list, it does have, let's see, white, black, blue, flesh colored, an orange, a red, brown, yellow, green, like a turquoise blue, gold, purple, your silver metallic. It also has a second brown, and then a matte varnish, a brush on primer, and then also two different washes, one a strong tone and the other one is a flesh wash. And that will get a lot of your major painting things done. Certainly if it's a starter painter and they just want to get into it, that's the best way to start. Anybody that paints needs more paint. Even if they don't want that specific color, there's a lot of times, once you get better, you can blend, you can incorporate different colors, stuff like that. And again, all these links are on Table Ready Painting on Facebook. So if you want to head over there, you can follow that. And all the links will be here for that. The next thing that I use is a super glue, of course. And super glue, I tend to use this guy right here, and that's the one that I linked, Loctite Super Glue. It's a professional strength. It's in a blue bottle, or the other one is a black bottle with the blue edges. I like this one specifically because the setup time is fantastic. You're not sitting here just kind of hanging out, waiting to see what's going to come up with it. It's really just set it and go in most cases. So, excuse me. So, that's the next thing on the list. After that, it's a little pricier. It's like $12, $13. But it fixes getting a super glue or a plastic glue, and then a accelerator, and then so on and so forth. The next thing is, of course, I put on primer. Primer, I did a whole paint video, but what I did is I linked the Army Painter primer. I don't have a can of it on me at the moment, but what I did follow with was, the nice thing about that is the colors. There's like 20 different colors of primer, so it's like a primer and base coat. So it is really handy to get that color in there and get you started and get you really worked into your, sorry, lost my train of thought. It does get you based on your specific color that you're working with. So if you want, like, they do have goblin green, they do have other colors like that, like your blues, your black, white, gray, sand colored, red. I think there's two different reds, actually, brown. So there's plenty of different colors to work with. On Army Painter, you are looking at, it's about $22 a can, and you can go from there. Now, the next thing that you're really looking at is, I'm going to skip down just one, is a paintbrush set. Every painter out there needs new paintbrushes. There's no other way to go about it. So what you're going to need as far as that goes, there's a nice paintbrush set, the one that I included in the notes here. It does have a couple dry brushes in it, a couple of the smaller ones. That is a really nice way to keep going, to get your painting on. This will work out your everything from like bigger solid stroke brushes, like your flats and your angles, all the way down to your very fine point stuff. And that the one that I included in the notes here is does have a carrying case. So if you want to keep an eye on your carrying case, you can just lay everything flat in there and keep everything working real nice. The next thing on the list, and the paintbrush set is about $25. The next thing that I want to mention on here is dry brush paint brushes, excuse me. And these are real soft, almost like makeup brushes. And those are really nice because you can actually do a lot of your dry brushing nice with these nice thin dry brushes. Your excuse me, your this is going to be for your highlighting and stuff like that. That's gonna really help you with getting those highlights and those dry brushes in there, and it's not going to mess up your other brushes. And the really nice part about this is your dry brush set is only $10 for 5 of them. They take a lot of abuse, and they still hold up really well. So that's something that you really want to think about, especially if you're going to do some serious dry brushing, and really keep on that type of painting. Because anything you're going to be doing with a wash, the wash is going to be real smooth, and you're going to try and get in some of those crevices and stuff like that. Where your dry brush, you really want to touch those highlighted areas, and just kind of, you're just leaving the dry end of the brush. If you don't know what dry brushing is, trust me, if somebody's doing painting, they're gonna want dry brushes. All right, trust me on this. For me, it's been a game changer. For anybody else, I'm sure getting some dry brush paint brushes will definitely change their life. They're amazing. All right, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about, and again, all these things are on Table Ready Painting on Facebook page, and I should probably knock a link here while I'm talking about it, and I'll work on that and put that in the chat in just a minute here. But the next thing that I did want to talk about was basing. Well, actually, I'm going to skip down a couple. There's a basic toolkit for doing models. This does have a hobby knife, like an X-Acto blade, a pair of snips, like these, some plastic files, some metal files, all in one case. It's also, in its own case. So, and that's only about $8. And trust me, that's another one of those. You can never have too many snips. You can never have too many files or X-Acto blades. I mean, that's got an X-Acto knife, but a model knife, and it does come with extra blades. You're gonna need them. I have probably a half a dozen X-Acto blades. Plus, I have a kit with all different size ones. I use them all, so don't be afraid to, get that worked up. They're definitely going to use them, and they're definitely going to be happy that you got that for them. The kit that I put on here was an $8 kit, and like I said, just basic tools, no extra stuff in it, and that's really what I wanted to put on the list. Just a basic kit for you to work with to get started with. And like I said, these, even if you got the stuff, having extra stuff is a godsend. Everybody needs extra stuff. You got some upstairs, you got some downstairs, you got some on your hobby desk, you got some down at the table where you play, you got some out in the garage. You're never going to have too many of them. So when we're going into that, of course, with any kind of knife or cutting material, you want to have a nice cutting mat. The cutting mat is just a basic cutting mat. You can use it for like circular wheels. You can use it for, a lot of people use it for sewing. You want to be able to have that to, I also use it to paint on, so that, obviously I don't paint directly on it, but I paint the models over it so that if I set the model down and it falls over and the wet paint, it doesn't end up on the table or end up on, your dining room table or your desk or your lap or wherever. Having that nice mat, the one that I got is just black on one side, gray on the other, and both sides work exactly the same. It's definitely the best thing, another one of those that's the best thing that I ever bought, and I'm so glad that I have it so I don't make that much of a mess all over the house. And I'm sure my wife appreciates that a whole lot. So the next thing that I'm going to actually jump back here. And I think I left the canister upstairs. Oh, by the way, that mat was about $11. So we're still looking on the cheap side. When you get into painting your miniatures, at least for me, the miniatures are never complete until they're based. To me, the first thing that I grab at this point it's called Vallejo Thick Mud. And I'm going to show you a miniature that I have. This is a Mauler Fiend that I just finished. And if you look at the basing itself, that comes out of a jar and is painted on directly onto there. Okay. I know, nice shiny model. Don't look at that. Look at the base. See all the crumbles and rocks and stuff, and even like the contour of the ground underneath. That's Vallejo Thick Mud. It's also on my Thousand Sun Sorcerer, but of course it's a whole lot harder to see. But you can see. No, I guess you can't see. That one's a little more difficult to see because of the smaller base. But like I said, with the Mauler Fiend, you can see all the little spots and stuff in here. This is all basing straight from that jar. Now, what I do is I paint it afterwards, but not always. So it depends on the model that I'm looking for and the look that I'm looking for specifically. This stuff is amazing. Like, I got it as a gift 3 years ago, I think it was, and I'm still working. I've only got maybe, the jar is probably about 4 or 5 inches tall, and I'm maybe an inch down on it. And I've used it on a lot of models, a ton. Every model in my Thousand Suns army has that basing material on it. Most of my Dark Angels almost every model that I've painted since then has that material on it. Some of the Shatterpoint models that I painted, it's on there to take those metallic looking bases and make them sandy or gravelly or whatever. I just slap it on there, get an old brush, something you don't care about, slather it on there, paint it on. You can use one of those flat, like putty knife tools. I don't bother. I just use an old brush, paint it on there. However it lands is how it lands. It's not going to look nice. You don't want it to look nice. It's mud. It's dirt. It's the outside in most cases. That's what you're trying to make. You don't want that. You don't want the flat side of the base as the bottom, unless you're doing some kind of platform underneath. You want this gravelly side. The gravelly side. Make it look like outside. I've even used it on. Gotta turn around for just a second here. A lot of this, all this material here, all this in here is that as well. That's my Helldrake. All that on there is done with that mud. $17. It's gonna last you forever. And the nice thing is, if it's not muddy enough the first time you paint it on again, and it only gets more rough and more textured and more lifelike. It's great. $17. You can get it for $17. It's going to last you forever. It's worth every dime. And it's better than the gravel and the, texture, or going outside and collecting rocks. Or, I mean, some people use cork and stuff like that. That's a little bit different of a look. But I think if you're just looking for a base, nice finished base, really easy, just paint it on, boom, done. One coat, paint it a color if you want it to be grassy or dirty or muddy or sandy or whatever, and then you're done. It's fantastic. While we're on basing, like I said, that's $17. And again, the link is on my Facebook page. Gamer's Grass. The grass tufts on these models, different colors. They have natural colors, they have alien colors. Buy Gamer's Grass. There's a lot of companies that do different types of grass tufts and stuff like that. Woodland Scenics is great for straight up turf. These grass tufts, they're sticky on the backside. You just pop them down. I've never had one of them fallen off. For all the games that I've played, I've never had one tuft of grass come off. Bought some a couple weeks ago. Put them on my Azrael that I painted. All of them are off already. Buy the Gamer Grass stuff. That's my recommendation. Again, that link is there. Gamer's Grass, they're right about $12 for a sheet. They look like this. There's a ton on there. I don't even know. This is Alien Pink. I put those on some of my Thousand Suns. It says there's around 70 different shapes. And as you can see, some of them are good. Some of them are smaller. This is the blue that I just showed you. Same thing. And again, I put them on all my Thousand Sun models. I still have a ton that are left between that. And I also have a fire one, which is here. All these I've used. It does come with a full sheet. It's worth it. Just get it. Buy them. $12. Whatever color. There's all kinds of natural colors. Dried grass, jungle grass, swamp grass. If the gamer in your life has it, they will use it. I promise you they will use it. It's amazing. All right. So now we're done with the modeling end of this. And of course, that takes up a big chunk of this because it is what's the most usable and the most generic out of all this stuff. So all the stuff that I mentioned is all stuff where you're going to use. I think I missed the wet palette. And if I didn't talk about that, that's something that we really, and you know what? I didn't. I missed the wet palette. I went straight to the thick mud and I forgot all about the wet palette. The new one from Army Painter, and you can buy any one you want. Trust me, you can buy any one you want. The nice one that I found, the one that I put on the Facebook page, is a wet and dry palette. So, the little plastic cups, it has those so that you can put paint in the little cups and then dip it and pull it out and work with it, which is it's better for some of your metallics and stuff like that, some of the stuff that you're going to want to mix, but it is going to dry. The nice thing about the wet side of the palette is when you, let's say you start painting and you're working on your miniature and you got your blue out here, right? And you're going through your model and somebody said, you get a phone call, hey, I need you to come pick me up, I'm at so and so. Okay, you can close up your palette, there's a band around it, keeps it, and when you come back to paint, whether it's the same day or the next day, that paint's still going to be wet. On a dry palette, on a piece of cardboard or whatever, that stuff is going to be hard as a rock. On a wet palette, I have come back 2 weeks later and it's still wet. It's got a skin on it, to be fair, but it's still wet underneath. So it saves a lot of that paint. You know, you're going to buy this Army Painter starter set and get all these dropper bottles. You're going to need to drop them onto something to make them work. Obviously, this is a wrong choice because this is a shader. Shaders really don't work. They just kind of spread all over your wet palette. But that's the one that I did put in the link is a wet and dry palette together. They do have just the wet palettes. The wet palette one by itself is nice because it has a place for your brushes. If you want to store your brushes, either one, both work great. They're about the same price. They're about $45, and you know you're gonna say, oh well, you know those little cups with the palettes with the cups, so they're only like $6 for 8 different holes. That's fine. That's fine. You can get that too. It is cheaper. It's going to keep you going as far as painting. And, my preference is to always just keep doing the hobby, keep being involved, and however you need to do it. You don't need to be painting a pro level paint job. In my house, 3 color minimum before it hits the table. After that, everything after that is just extra. So please, wet palette's a great idea. You're going to spend $50 on somebody. That's a good place to put it. A wet and dry palette, especially if they don't have one, killer. And you're going to use it. Well, whoever's painting is going to use it. They're absolutely going to use it. Now, at this point, we're moving past the painting and building and modeling part of this. You already have your painted army. You have your miniatures ready to play on the table. I can tell you from years and years and years and years and years of playing Warhammer, the one thing that you will never, ever have enough of is tape measures. Your basic tape measure. Oops, mine got far away from me. A nice small one is all you need. This is the one. This is the size you're looking for. It should go out a nice thin tape, 4 foot, 6 foot tops. If you're playing with, 10th edition 40K, we're looking at a 44 by 60 measurement for the table. There's going to be very few circumstances where you're going to be measuring more than 5 feet. And I think if I did the math, there's only very few circumstances where you're going to be measuring more than 6 feet. And you're literally talking corner to corner. I didn't do the math on it. I probably should have, but when you're standing in the very deep end of the one corner and you want to fire all the way directly in the opposite corner, you might need a 6 foot. You might need more than a 6 foot tape measure. This one that I have is, I think, it's not even 4 foot. It's 3.5 foot. It's the one that I use most of the time. I do have a couple others. I can tell you in the middle of a game, I throw 3 of these on the table, or I try to. If I have them available, I throw them on the table, and usually by turn 2, we're looking for them because they're under a building, they're in a ruin, they get trapped in a ruin, they went somewhere they weren't supposed to. So the pack that I put on the link on my Facebook page is three of them at 6 foot long. They work great. If you want to get a little fancier, and I should have turn around here and look, see if I can grab one. Well, these are the paint pots that I was talking about before. You can get these dirt cheap. You can get them at any hobby store. But you're going to want that paint palette. It's going to change the game for your gamer. The next thing is there's, oops, my drawer don't want to close. Measuring guides, measuring gauges. I don't have this one well, obviously I have this one specifically. This is a tack template, and this is from a defunct podcast. But I got this a long time ago. I use this all the time because it's got 6 inches, 2 inches, 4 inches, and then an inch at top. I did put one on here that's 3 different gauges like this. One is 12 inches long, one is 6 inches long, and the last one is 3 inches long. The link that I put on here is a $40 set of all 3. You can get them separately. They do have nifty little notes on them, like 3 inches is your, your pile in movement. It's got 6 inches for so on and so forth. Because they're all different. What you do want to do, though, is if you're going to get one of these are very specific and they're very useful. This is very handy to just grab and have the measurements laid out here. As you can see, it's even got 6 inches along the back. But this has made movement specifically so much easier. Space Marines move 6 inches. Guardsmen move 6 inches. You know how easy it is to take the model here, move it to there, done. For each model of the squad. Boom, 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 boom. Done. They're very useful. If you've never seen one before, take a look. I mean, the link's there. Jump right in. See if you can find it. And there's a couple different companies that make them. I just picked these because they're one of the most cost effective. All 3 pieces are $40. It's kind of expensive, but they do have it all printed really nice on there. And again, once you have one, you're always going to use it. It's the first thing I grab when I'm doing movement. Okay. Now, that's the gaming side. Now, there's only 2 things that I put because when you move up from here, it's going to get more expensive. And look, this is a gift guide for somebody maybe you work with, maybe whatever. I didn't want to go to an overextended place, but what I did want to mention was Pegasus Gothic Ruins. They make I forgot to grab them too, but they do make a nice right angle ruin. It's very well themed for $40K. You get 2 of them in a box for $27. You just glue the 2 pieces together, and you don't actually have to glue the pieces together. They are pegged so that you can just push them together and even lay the ruined second floor on. They're very nice looking, and they're a great way to start your table. I know terrain for all these games are very expensive. And the more you put on there, the more expensive it gets. So, obviously all your boxes that you're games come in, almost all of them are printed on the sides. You can use those as buildings. I know nobody does, but or not a lot of people do. And I think it's a lot of people frown upon it, and I don't know why, because at the end of the day, playing the game is what we want to do anyways. But this is a good step in, especially if you want to get, you can get two pieces on the table for $27. I'm sure there's sales, stuff like that. You can always jump in and buy more. Hey, give me one for Christmas, one for my birthday, and I'll buy one here and there, and you can have a table in not all that long. They do paint up really nice. They have a lot of nice little accessories that you can kind of put on them, because they are, you can switch them, this way or this way, which does leave holes in the other side. They do have plugs, which are like little gargoyles or lamps or just flat plugs that you can kind of stick in those holes so they're not holes all the time. They look really nice. I would recommend, if you want to get a set, they're dirt, as far as scenery goes, they're dirt cheap. I mean, you're looking from, some of these terrain sites, cheaper on the cheaper end is $150 for a table. Well, I mean, for $150, you can get 6 boxes of these. So you're talking 12 sets of ruins. It's a cheap way to go. It's something that you can break apart and do in pieces. And it's something that, as a gift, you can give to somebody, and they can put right on, they could snap them together and put them on their table and play with it the next day. So, like I said, $27. The link's on the Facebook page. And, just work on that. I mean, that's the best way to start a table in my experience. The last thing that I did want to mention on here was Frontline Gaming. And I'm not affiliated, I'm not sponsored, but I'd take it if they gave it to me. Frontline Gaming is, they do have mats. Now, you are looking at I don't want to say very expensive, because it's not very expensive. The mats are cost effective, let's say. I think you're looking at, what is it, like $90 for a table for Warhammer 40K. So a 4 foot by 6 foot, a 44 by 60, so on. I think they're all right around $90, if I remember correctly. The nice thing is, like, I have the 6 foot by 4 foot. And what I do is, they actually sell hazard stripes to cut it down to the 60 by 44. Now, again, you don't have to get Frontline Gaming mats. You can get whatever you want. Let me see if I can pull the price up here real quick. The gaming mats for this are, I should have looked this up before. Frontline Gaming mats are, well, actually, I mean, as of today, right now, the 6 foot by 4 foot they're normally $80. Right now they're on sale for $60. So if you want to jump on there and grab them, you can do that. And like I said, I got hazard stripes for mine to cut down the size. If you want to get the 44 by 60 for 40K, they're $73.95. So, yeah, so that's not too bad. Really at $55, that's kind of a steal for a mat. Um, this is not a Frontline Gaming mat, but this is what they look like. They're very similar to this. They do have the neoprene back. I know there's some on Amazon that you can buy that are double-sided. There'll be one print on one side, another print on the other. I actually have mine. Whoops. I've got the bag for mine, and they do have a tag showing you which size it is and what the print is on it. And the bag is very nice. I get the long end here. And again, see if I can find the end here real quick. This is what the Frontline Gaming ones look like. They are like that. They do have the neoprene backing. I got these as a gift a couple years ago, maybe last year, actually, with the bags. I got two of them with the bags. They're the best things. Talk about upgrading your games of 40K, or anything. I mean, I really want to pick one up for playing Shatterpoint, but we do have. I got these at a local convention. They do kind of link together. I like these a lot. And the nice thing about the ones that I got here, and they're from Tempest Games, or I'm sorry, Telest Games, which is actually its own game system. But these are 18. They're 18 by 36, so that's as big as they are. The nice thing is, two of them together are 3 by 3, so you could play Shatterpoint. Whoops, sorry, I'm making that down. But I would recommend, if you're going to jump into it, they do have the 3 by 3s from Frontline Gaming. Let's see if I can get you a price here real quick while I'm here. 3 by 3. I mean, $35. 46.95 normally. So I did put a link up to Frontline Gaming. Obviously, buy what you want. Mats. If you're looking to spend $100 on somebody, a gamer in your life, and a mat will be amazing. It definitely changes up the game from a base level. When your tabletop is already themed before you even put a building on it, it changes the whole experience. So I can't get my link to work. But that's the last thing that I put on there. That, of course, is the only item that's over $50. So, and that's, oh, and the last thing I did want to say, they have a lot of options. I have two of them. I could buy two more tomorrow, and the odds of getting the same two are very low. I have the Hanger deck, and then I have the Cataclysm one. Completely different feels, completely different game feel. They look completely different. They have urban ones, swamp ones, regular grassland ones, whatever you want. There's a ton of different prints, and I don't even know how many there are. I know there's at least two jungle ones, two urban ones. There's a urban, destroyed urban, or urban blight or something like that. It's probably the next one that I want to get, because I'm kind of in love with that one. But that's about it for my gift list for somebody for this holiday season. I actually really enjoyed doing this episode, because I think it's just a lot of stuff that younger me, when I wanted somebody to shop for me, would have loved any one of these items. Any of these items are 100% useful. In most cases, it doesn't matter how many of them you have. Like I said, down to the simple dice. Any gamer wants more dice. I can guarantee you walk up to any gamer and ask them what they want more of in their game, and they're going to say dice as a physical thing. yes, they're going to want more models. Yes, they're going to want more different game rules or some mechanic change. When it comes down to playing the game, they're going to want dice that they can throw. Um, so very cheap. Like I said, about $15 for dice. Dice sixes are what you want for wargaming. Just doubling back to that. Um, but that's it for me. I think everything on that list is good. Like I said, all those links are on my Facebook page at Table Ready Painting. You can look that up. I did put a post on it. I will actually share it on my personal account. And then anything else that you're interested in seeing, check me out there. If you want to watch this, this of course will be live on Twitch for whatever the next week, and it will be posted on YouTube on Tuesday, and will be there forever. So if you want a replay of this and you think about it like a couple weeks down the road, it's still going to be available on YouTube. Check me out and have a great day.